All right, everybody, welcome to Web3 Sales Gym. Today we have an amazing guest, Owen. He knows all ins and outs of the recruiting world. This is his playground, and today we're going to talk about hiring and getting a job as a Web3 BD and sales professional right now in 2024, end of Q2. Owen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks very much. And yeah, great to be here.
Perfect. If you want to add anything about the stuff that you're doing right now, feel free. If not, let's jump into the questions.
I'm from industry leading layer ones to well-funded Series A projects across verticals like DeFi and gaming. Been working in the space for 3.5 years now. Very much enjoy it. And yeah, looking forward to what promises to be a very good bull market over the next year or so. Yeah.
Sounds good. That's a very positive approach to look at things. So right now in Web3, bull market have impact. I see that in bear market, a lot of people fire the team because the team is a big cost. Right now, a lot of people start hiring BDs, sales folks, and etc. So what do you think about the market in its current state? Is it the employee market? Is it the employer market? How hard or how easy it is to get a sales job right now from what you see on the market?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Obviously, dev hiring has picked up considerably over the last couple of months. Marketing has um, been an amazing has been performing amazingly well over the last couple of months. I would say, with respect to business development roles, we're in a state of perfect equilibrium in that
Hmm.
like it's not an employer's market nor an employee's market. It's in a state of balance, I would say. And yeah, whereas it's an employer's market, or it's an employee's market rather, with respect to dev roles and marketing roles, and whereas BD roles, we're in that state of perfect equilibrium. And yeah, I think that over the next couple of months, it will be an employee's market, most definitely, for BD professionals.
Sounds good, guys.
I
So if
suppose
you
we're
want.
not there yet, but we're getting there. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good news for everybody who wanted to change jobs in the next couple of months. Okay, what advice would you give to people that? So, like, I believe that you work with all sorts of folks coming to the industry that do have the experience with Web3, that do have experience in the domain that they're doing, and those that do not have experience neither in Web3, and those that do not have the experience neither in their domain. Could you touch briefly on the differences between getting a job? For example, if you do have a sales experience or you do not have the sales experience in Web3 or out of Web3, or if it like correlates with the same way with the marketing or development roles that you see.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of BD roles are filled via word of mouth. And yeah, oftentimes it can be business development professionals that impressed on various different calls, and they said we need that person in a lot of cases. So yeah, a lot of BD is probably one of those verticals the most where word of mouth does count for a lot in terms
Mhm.
of projects hiring them. And yeah, with respect to, if you don't have experience working in BD, I would say, like, whether you're a marketer or a product professional, or a designer or a junior dev, just get that experience, help out pro bono, get that foot in within the industry, and show that you understand. Yeah, that you show potential future employers then that you've worked in the space, show that you have an interest in the space, and because yeah, show that you understand the culture of working in the space as well. So yeah, no, just get experience pro bono for a few months, be it an hour a week or whatever. Just get that
Mhm.
few logos on your resume for the first couple of months if you don't have any previous sales experience and want to work as a BD professional in Web3. Obviously, things like educational factors when it comes to looking for BD jobs in Web3 aren't a huge factor, I would say. So yeah, there's a relatively low barrier to entry, as so long as you have some good
True.
experience and a good network behind you. So yeah, and obviously it's a perfect time to start that experience now as well, because I do anticipate that Q3 this year will be very, very strong for BD roles, yeah, in particular.
Exactly. Like not having experience cannot be a limiting factor for you. Like go solve the problem and go get the experience,
Yeah,
work for
exactly.
somebody for free,
Yeah,
get that experience,
exactly.
get the foot in the door, and then get the normal position where the one that you wanted.
Yeah. And when you're reaching out to these BD professionals and you're looking for experience, or reaching out to these Web3 founders, don't say you're passionate. Just prove it. Send them maybe a one pager as to as to give them maybe some one or two suggestions. Say what their competitors are doing that they should be potentially doing and areas for improvement. And yeah, you'll often find that whilst not everyone will get back to them, there is a lot of good people that will be willing to help. And I
Mhm.
would say that maybe as if you're looking for your first BD job, see what the VCs the big VCs have invested in recently, the likes of Pantera, Coinbase Ventures, companies
Mhm.
like that, or else you can go down the ecosystem approach. So if you're a big fan of Algorand or Avalanche or whatever ecosystem it may be,
And move the
look at
ecosystem. Yeah.
maybe yeah, look for projects within that ecosystem, for example, to see promising early stage projects within those ecosystems. Reach out to the founders directly and say, listen, I want to help you, and I want to help you go forward. I believe that I can be a good sales professional for your team. Let me help out. Generate trust in a few screening calls. Show them you're passionate. Happy days. And I yeah. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. And it's not as
That's
difficult
a
as you
that's a very
believe.
good answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's not that difficult, guys. The first step is the hardest one. Just go and start doing the thing.
absolutely. It's like gymming, I suppose. The first couple of days will be the hardest, but once you get into a routine, it'll
Exactly.
be okay.
That's why the channel is called Web Freestyle Gym. All right, man. Um, Another thing is like a lot of people right now they start thinking about hopping jobs because they're gonna think, okay, it's gonna be an employee market. I can get a better deal
Yeah.
for my job. Now, I want to broaden this question a little bit. So there is another. I read another article from a guy that worked in recruiting, and what he told is that specifically for sales roles, let's say if you start hopping jobs, like let's say once each year or once each 18 months, you can get a bump in your salary, like let's say 10%, 20% or etc. But if you focus that energy, let's say you just do a very good first peak, you stay in the same organization for the first, I don't know, like 5 years, and then you have ability to move yourself from the entry level position to the super to the highest position, the highest rank within the company. And in the long term, this approach would generate more money and more salary for those folks. So, what's your approach overall about hopping jobs? How long should it how long like how long or in how much jobs hopping is too much, and whether people should be doing it.
It's a very difficult question to ask, or to answer rather, because every yeah, context is huge. I guess just with regards to job hopping, I would say that Web3, generally speaking, is more forgiving than Web2, for example. Broadly speaking, I guess
Hmm.
a lot of projects naturally fail. They run out of funding. A lot of projects as well, they pivot, they change direction, which maybe somebody's skill set maybe not as relevant anymore.
Hmm.
And then a lot of these projects are run by founders that are young, they're immature, and there can often be cultural problems at various different projects as well. And yeah, psychological contract violations as well. Somebody was promised X and found out when they joined the job it was more like Y. And yeah,
Sounds
sometimes
good.
you have A players working for crypto projects. They're super ambitious and they feel like they've reached a ceiling and want to go on to the next thing. Um, so yeah, like again, you have to get context to all these situations. And again, last year, obviously, layoffs were it was absolutely brutal as well.
Blood
So
on the
again,
streets.
there's context to all these situations as well, with respect to job hopping as well. And I guess I always encourage clients to not dismiss hoppers lightly. Whilst I do understand you want someone for the long term, just remember that the last 18 months were brutal in
Hmm.
terms of the job market. And there can be a whole range of different cultural reasons, salary reasons, projects changing directions as to why somebody might be or funding issues as to why somebody might maybe have three jobs in the last 2 years, for example,
Yeah.
which probably employers will be more forgiving in Web3 of that than say quote unquote Web2. And I would add one small thing to that as well, with respect to job hopping, projects. in business development and marketing in particular, there was a lot of non-technical people hired last year in 2023 at
Hmm.
much lower salaries than what they would have been earning in 2021, 2022. So a
Hmm.
lot of these projects, I believe now, should be focusing very heavily on who do they want to keep during this next cycle, um, and place a stronger emphasis on employer retention, and
Hmm.
maybe look at upping some of the salaries of people that they hired last year. Because if you maybe hired a marketing person last year or a BD person last year, say hypothetically maybe 70,000, I guarantee you now at the moment that person is probably speaking to recruiters and companies
That offer them
about
100K.
100,
Yeah.
yeah, 100K kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just something to be bear in mind of in this now more than ever is a time when projects need to be mindful of not just who do we hire, but who do we really want to keep if they have hired someone last year.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, yeah.
No, that's a very good
But
insight.
yeah.
How would you, so let's say if, let's talk about the top of the sales floor, like the
Yeah.
managers, the best performers on the team, account executives, so like best of the best. How should these folks approach finding new jobs? Is it only word of mouth, or should they be working with recruiters? Should they go on websites? Like, how do they typically look for jobs? How do they get new jobs?
Both, to be honest, recruiters and word of mouth. And yeah, that's probably the best two strategies. If your likelihood is, if you want to join another foundation, for example,
Hmm.
if you're a top BD professional, you probably might know have a previous contact at that foundation. Obviously, first port of call would be to sound that person out, see if there's an opening there or is there an opening coming, and by doing that, you have somebody internally within the organization advocating for you if there is a role coming up. So, of course, utilize your network when looking for a job, pivotal, and also use recruitment assistance as well. So, recruiters will have different opportunities that you may have been unaware of or that may not be publicly available. And yeah, job boards by all means,
Hmm.
yeah, utilize them, have a look, see what's out there. But yeah, there's yeah, all three really, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. The last one, the last question. I would actually would love to ask you to give an advice to two types of folks, to recruiters like yourself, and also to salespeople. How should these two categories of people find the best career opportunities for themselves? Like one single piece of advice, like the thing that you think is the most impactful for sales guys and for recruiters, because recruiter is also it's also a position you also learn a lot of things. And essentially what I see a lot of parallels and similarities between what recruiters do in their jobs and what sales folks do in their jobs. So what would be that single piece of advice for their careers that you would tell that guys just do this thing and majority of times you're going to be good. So
Yeah,
I can give you
so
an
I would
example of
say,
what I would say.
yeah, go for it.
I would say that for them, always build the pipeline. That's it for the sales
Yeah,
folks, and the same would be for candidates. Because any kind of problems in your business can be solved with you just reaching out to or talking to enough amount of people that gonna be forming the pipeline for you of prospective clients. So always have it full, and regardless of any problems you have, you're gonna be covered.
yeah. I guess one advice that I would give to recruiters is coming from a HR background, a human resources background, where I would have been working in-house, in respect to recruitment, working on employee engagement, learning and development. In my HR days, I don't come from an agency or recruitment background at all. How I ended up in this line of work is largely by accident.
Yeah,
And I would say to recruiters that you're in the relationship business, not just the sales business. The relationship with the candidate and the client comes first. Don't be too pushy when it comes to sales. Don't be yeah, don't be for example, I just don't ring candidates out of the blue, for example, either.
Hmm.
For example, build relationships. I would also recommend maybe I suppose for BD professionals, I would say obviously we're still in a nascent industry. If you know, if you know, if you're selling something that has no value, that might that may adversely affect you later on. So be very careful in respect to that as well. And yeah, I would recommend both recruiters and BD professionals to never underestimate the power of personal branding as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, because it does build a funnel. And when I post on LinkedIn, for example, um,
And a couple of tens of
I
thousands
guess
of people see it, it has impact, it has power. Yeah.
yeah, it brings candidates to me a lot of the time, and it saves me doing a lot of outreach as well. And yeah, it allows me to emphasize and showcase my values as well, because there is a lot of preconceived notions about recruiters, and a lot of them are valid, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I think if you're a BD professional or a recruiter and you want to showcase that you are maybe different and have it and want to showcase who you are as a person, I would definitely recommend personal branding and putting a bit of time into content and seeing that as a cornerstone of you building a successful career as well. And I just think it's a very or it's a very underappreciated thing, especially in a globally remote distributed industry such as blockchain tech.
I couldn't agree more, Owen. It was a very insightful interview. Following up on the point that you mentioned, personal branding, you guys watching this video can click on the link above you. There's going to be a video about how to build the personal branding in free. And if you are ever thinking about finding a new job, or you're a company that wants to go and find good candidates for yourself, go talk to Owen because he definitely knows a lot of candidates, and he definitely knows where your next opportunity might be if you're the top talent. Or basically, I will leave your contacts below so folks can get in touch with you. Don't remember to like this video, support, subscribe. You're important, and your engagement is important. And just by showing us that you like the video, you show that you like this kind of content, and we should do more of that one. So this will signal that we should do the version 2 with Owen. Owen, thank you so much for the time and for your insights. It was a pleasure to have you on the chat.
Absolutely.